Welcome to Pillar 2 Instruct for Week 1. I want to give you an introduction to a video. It's always good whenever you do a presentation to give an overview of what's happening. So this is me on a good hair day, and I don't look the best in yellow, but it's all right. Sorry for the joke, just trying to keep you alive here online. So we're going to look at objectives 2, 5, and 9 from our syllabus, and then I'll take you to a review of chapter 14 and specifically explain to you invention, why we do it, and what I expect from that if you're wanting an A on your invention work. And then we're going to look at chapters 15, 19, and 20 for paragraph structure, and you'll want to be sure to watch that so that you know exactly how to write your paragraphs so that you can get a good grade on your essays. And then to keep the video from getting too long, I've put it into 2 parts. So the second part you can look at how to strengthen your sentences. That's chapter 16. So looking at the objectives, the small print are objectives also. I've just increased the print of the objectives that we are hitting for this week, or specifically for this video. So I want you to think about why we do what we do. Research shows that you retain what you learn longer and you apply it better if you know why you're doing it, and also specifically you learn it better if you are aware that you're learning it. So I want you to think about your learning in this course as we go through. So I want you to keep in mind, I want you to think about using the process of invention, research, drafting, editing, and revising your writing as we go through this video. I want you to think about strategies of inquiry. That's a fancy word for thinking through things, asking questions, really digging into your thoughts, your reasoning, some research, some reading. So we're going to find and evaluate this week and synthesize some of your thoughts as we prepare for a profile essay. And then the last objective we'll hit this week also is using effective organization. So I want you to really be thinking about, as we go through editing, drafting with those paragraphs, how to clearly organize those for your audience. So come with me as we dig into chapter 14 of Writing Today. Chapter 14 defines invention. A lot of students would prefer to call it a writing plan, and that's fine with me. It's like a writing plan. Some people call it pre-writing. In this course, I just use what the book talks about, and the book uses invention here. So it's basically using a variety of techniques to get your thoughts together. This chapter takes you through pre-writing. It takes you through heuristics, which is just a fancy way of saying questioning, and it takes you through exploratory writing. So as you go through the chapter, think of what really works the best for you as you work toward invention. One of the most crucial points I want you to gather from this course with invention is thinking of your audience. There's no reason to communicate. There is no reason to write if we do not have an audience, and if we do not correctly think about our audience, we're not going to be correctly targeting the audience. So it's very important for you to think of who you are writing to. Even with this profile, even though it's just a class assignment, I still want you to think about who could you really be writing this profile to. Who would be interested in it? What kind of magazine would publish this? What specific specific person would be interested in this? Somebody that you actually know. So look at this. We've got a whole crowd of people. So if you think of a whole crowd of people when you're writing your paper, that's okay as long as it's fine-tuned to a group of people with similar interests like what this shows. But I really think that you'll do better if, instead of thinking of a mass of people, you boil down your audience to one person. Yeah, I thought that was really cute, and again, I'm just working to keep your attention. So as you are focusing your invention, think about that one person who's going to be really interested in your topic. Picture picture that one person. Think about what words you can use to target that one person. Think about the examples that that person will relate to and connect to. Really focus in on that one person, and I believe your profile is going to be much sharper and the communication is going to be clearer if you are targeting and focus down on one person that you are relating to. Next, when you're working through invention, I want you to think about the what, and I always want you to think about your aim or your driving point. Where are you driving the audience? I just realized this is a British car, either that or it's a Daredevil. They're driving on the left side of the road. Think about where it is that you are, what point it is that you are driving home. So even with the profile, you have a driving point. That profile seeks to find an underlying theme. So if you profile, I don't know, Bill Gates, what is something that we don't know about him? What is some underlying theme that you can pull out about Bill Gates' life to make us scratch our heads and go, oh, I did not know that. And find something that relates to the audience, something about, for my example, Bill Gates that we didn't know about that we could apply to our lives if we were looking to build a business. So always think of your driving force. So review, think about your audience, specific audience. The what, think about your driving force, and the why. I also want you to keep in mind the why. Why does your reader care? Why should they spend their time reading your profile? So with this why question, you want to look at relevance and how you can make your profile relevant to your reader. So let's sum up our chat here about invention in chapter 14 by looking at the last few paragraphs of chapter 14. I'm on page 354. You can follow along with me. You can pause this video at any time to find the spot in the textbook. So I am going to read to you, taking time to invent and pre-write. It's tempting, the book says, to jump straight into the drafting stage. After all, time spent pre-writing using heuristics, doing exploratory writing might seem like time away from your real task, getting that assignment finished and getting your A. But the secret to invention is to give yourself the time and space to explore your ideas. You're going to have a much stronger paper if you really put the time up front to work on this. Above all, think of invention as a separate stage in your writing process. The invention is not going to turn into your paper, but you're going to pull ideas from your paper to use, or excuse me, the invention is not going to be your paper, but you will pull ideas from your invention into your paper. And to further summarize, let me leave you with this visual. Imagine you were a contractor and you set about to build a house. Would you just grab a bunch of boards and start putting them together and say, well, I'll see what comes out? Will this be successful, or would you be more successful with a plan? Having an exact plan so you know what size boards you need and you know how to structure this house from the beginning to the end. Well, that's just like an essay paper. If you start writing and you just say, you know what, I'm going to see where my thoughts take me and I'm going to turn that in as an essay, it's not going to be very organized and you're not going to have this fully complete product when you're finished. So start with the invention. From your invention, move into a plan, a solid plan of how to get your writing structured. So we're going to move into that next, the plan for structure. So let me come back to that introductory slide just to show you where we are, where we've come from. We've looked at objectives. We've discussed chapter 14, invention, and that invention is leading us into chapters 15, 19, and 20 for paragraph structure. We don't want a bunch of boards lying around on the ground to create a house. We want a specific plan, and we want that essay to be structured so that our reader follows us more clearly and our communication is more exact. So let's take another look. I say another look because I trust that you've already read the assigned text. Let's take a look at chapter 15 just briefly, and then we'll go look more detail at chapters 19 and 20. Chapter 15, I just want you to get the gist of that it really gave us an overview, intro, body, conclusion. And I want you to think of that over and over again. I also want you to remember or even mark page 361. It's called Working Through Reader's Block. My on-ground students, those who meet face-to-face with me in the classroom, say they really appreciate this page. It gives them ideas of what to do if they're stuck with their invention, or they've got an idea in their head and it just won't come out. These are some ideas that help get them flowing. So this is really one of my favorite pages in the book. A lot of students like this one. So mark that. So on to chapters 19 and 20. With chapter 19, I really want you to focus on the introductory moves. Do not forget your introduction. It is very important. If a reader comes by, picks up your paper, they've been who knows where and been thinking about who knows what, they've had a good day, they've had a bad day, whatever it is, they're not ready for your topic. So get them ready for your topic by going through these 5 moves. Mark those in your paper if you need to, or in your book if you need. I'm on page 408. I hope you're following along in your book. If your book is in e-text, I hope you're making notes. This is a reminder. You probably know about these. The introductory grabs, the way to grab your audience: interesting questions, startling statistic, compelling statement, quotation, dialogue. Love dialogue. It gets you right into the moment, especially with the profile. You need dialogue. We need to hear your person, or we need to hear wherever you are. The profile is so important to do the 5 senses, and we can hear it so much. We can hear so much when we put dialogue in there. If you do dialogue, make sure that you follow how to do the comma, set up the quotation, how to do the period, and end the quotation. So it's always comma, quotation, punctuation, end quotation. Maybe you are profiling a place instead of a person, so set the scene. Show us what it looks like when you walk into that building. Give us an anecdote where there was somebody connected with that scene, or give us a case history of what all goes into that scene. And so the next page, we're now on 410. This book skips the body. We'll go into that next with the paragraph, chapter 20. Conclusions, it's very, very similar to the introduction. You're going to come back and you're going to mirror the introduction. Now, you're not going to just copy paste, repeat everything that you said in the intro, but you do need to summarize your points, and you do need to stress the importance or the relevance. I call this the so what, and I'm not trying to be a smarty pants here. I really mean so what in the conclusion. What is the relevance? Why does the reader care? How does this connect to them? Make sure you're always showing the relevance in those. And it's also important for a profile to look to the future. It's extremely important when we get to the proposal that you look to the future. So that's the ideas behind chapter 19. With the introduction and conclusion, let's quickly go to chapter 20 so I don't make this video too long. We're going to look at developing paragraphs and sections. Let's go to the next page. And let's scroll down to the bottom of the page. I love this figure. Transitions. Paragraphs should always use some sort of a transition, and those transitions are listed on the next page. Let's flip over there to look at the transitions. As an illustration, or in the past, in the future, meanwhile, to this end, subsequently, on the other hand, whatever it is, a transition is a good way to help the reader follow your thoughts, follow your ideas. Since you can't open up your skull and let them see inside your brain, you need to lead them. So the topic sentence is the claim. So you state a claim. Traveling to Italy will be the best thing you've ever done. Okay, I just made that up off the top of my head. I don't know if it's very strong, but let's use that as a claim. Traveling to Italy will be the best thing you have ever done. So we state a claim, now we have to prove it. Okay, so these sentences down here support my claim that traveling to India will be India. I've done that too. It's exciting, but Italy is more relaxing. Support sentences. So you need to give us some very specific evidence as to why traveling to Italy is the most important thing that you'll ever do. Probably a sentence about the history, probably a sentence about the art, probably a sentence about the food and wine, something like that. And then you need a point sentence that's going to wrap it all up and kind of match your claim up here or your topic sentence. So, traveling to Italy will give you some of the best experiences that you'll ever have in your life. That's very close to the claim that traveling to Italy will be one of the best decisions you'll ever make. Something like that. So it's pretty much claim, support, conclude.